There's a specific moment when something inside you goes quiet. You don't announce it. You don't fight about it anymore. It's not anger. It's not even sadness in the usual sense. It's a soft internal stepping back that nobody around you sees. You still show up. You still smile when expected, but something underneath has already started letting go. What you're feeling isn't coldness. It's a quiet form of emotional self-protection most people never learn to name. Most people think giving up looks loud. Slamming doors, harsh words, dramatic exits filling the room with noise. But the real giving up is silent. It happens in a single breath you take and never speak about again. You stop explaining yourself first. Then you stop correcting their assumptions. Then you stop sharing what actually matters to you. The strange part is how natural it feels, like your nervous system finally chose peace over being constantly misunderstood. You used to over-explain everything. You rephrase your sentences 3 different ways hoping someone would finally hear you. You'd replay conversations at night, wondering what you could have said differently to make them understand what you meant. Then one day, you simply stopped, not from strength exactly, but from a quiet exhaustion you couldn't carry anymore. This is where the inner shift begins, the moment effort stops feeling like love and starts feeling like self-abandonment instead. People around you may not notice at first. You're still polite, still present, still answering their questions when they ask. But your answers get shorter. Your stories get smaller. You stop offering the deeper parts of yourself to people who never ask. And here's what nobody talks about. This kind of quiet retreat isn't bitterness. It's a survival pattern learned long ago. Somewhere earlier in life you learned a painful truth, that being fully yourself often invited misunderstanding, criticism, or emotional distance from others. So you adjusted. You softened your edges, dimmed your needs, performed a smaller version of yourself for everyone around you. For a while, this worked. People liked the quieter version of you, the version that didn't ask for much or take up space. But something inside you was keeping score, not out of resentment, but because your real self never stopped waiting to be seen. Psychology calls this emotional withdrawal. It's what happens when someone's effort consistently meets indifference, dismissal, or one-sided emotional exchanges. It's not a decision you make consciously. It's a slow internal recalibration where your mind decides certain people aren't safe to invest in. But there's a deeper layer most people miss. This withdrawal isn't really about them. It's about what you finally learned about yourself. You learned that your peace matters. You learned that being misunderstood by the wrong people costs more than you can afford anymore. Imagine sitting across from someone who's talking. You used to lean in, ask follow-up questions, remember small details from weeks ago. Now you nod at the right moments. You're present but not reaching. The version of you that used to try harder isn't in the room. This is when you start noticing something uncomfortable. Most of your relationships were built on you being the one who pursued, prepared, and remembered. You were the one initiating texts. You were the one suggesting plans. You were the one checking in after disagreements that weren't even your fault. And the moment you stopped, the relationship revealed its actual weight. Some friendships went silent within weeks. Others quietly faded without explanation. That silence taught you something painful but clarifying. Many of your connections weren't mutual. They were sustained entirely by your unmatched effort. This is the loneliest realization of adulthood, that love existed mostly in your reaching and very little in their returning toward you. But it's also a doorway, because once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it, and you stop performing for closeness. What makes this even harder is how guilty you feel, like withdrawing makes you the bad one, the cold one, the difficult person. You replay your choices. You wonder if you gave up too soon, or if you should have explained yourself one more time. But here's what's true. You didn't stop trying because you stopped caring. You stopped trying because caring stopped being received. There's a difference between giving up on someone and accepting who they've already shown you they are. Most people confuse the two. If you've been recognizing yourself in this, drop a comment below. Tell me about the moment you went quiet with someone. Not to vent, but to name it. Sometimes putting language around an experience is what finally lets your nervous system release it. Because this pattern isn't talked about enough. People assume the loud goodbyes hurt most, but the silent ones reshape who you become. Now let's go deeper. Because the quiet stopping isn't just about other people. It reveals something essential about your inner world. You're someone who feels things at a frequency others don't always register. You process meaning where they only see surface. So when you stop trying, it's never impulsive. It's the result of months, sometimes years, of unmet emotional reaching no one acknowledged. This is the moment you stop fighting it. You stop trying to make people understand what they've already shown they don't want to. And something unexpected happens. The exhaustion you've been carrying for years starts to lift in places you didn't know were heavy. You sleep a little better. You think a little clearer. The mental loop of trying to be understood finally goes quiet inside you. But there's grief in this too. A quiet mourning for the version of you who believed enough effort could fix anything. That version of you wasn't naive. She was hopeful. He was loyal. They believed love meant never giving up on people you cared about. And now you're learning a harder truth, that sometimes loving yourself means letting people remain exactly as misunderstanding as they've chosen to be. This is the most painful insight of all. Not everyone who hurt you meant to. Some simply couldn't meet you where you actually lived. They weren't built for your depth. They weren't fluent in your emotional language. They loved you in the only way they knew how. But it wasn't enough. And acknowledging that doesn't make you cruel. It makes you finally honest about what you needed all along. Here's the pattern has a name in psychology. It's called protective detachment, and it's how emotionally aware people preserve themselves over time. It's not avoidance. It's not coldness. It's the nervous system finally choosing not to bleed for relationships that never bandaged it back. And once you understand this, something shifts permanently. You stop apologizing for your quiet. You stop explaining your distance to people who created it. You start trusting the part of you that pulled back. That part wasn't broken. That part was the wisest piece of you. You begin to notice who actually reaches for you. Not who reaches when convenient, but who reaches when nothing is being asked of them. These people become your real circle. Small, sometimes very small, but real in ways your previous relationships pretended to be. And the others, the ones you went quiet with, they fade into something gentler than resentment. They become lessons, not enemies. You can wish them well from a distance. You can hope they grow. You can release them without needing closure or apology anymore. This is the freedom most people never reach. The ability to stop trying without becoming bitter about the trying that came before. Because here's the truth about quietly stopping. It's not the end of love in you. It's the beginning of love directed correctly. Toward yourself first. Toward people who actually see you. Toward conversations where you don't have to translate your own existence. The capacity that made you try so hard for so long, that's still there. It just has somewhere better to go now. So if you've gone quiet with someone, don't punish yourself for it. Your silence isn't a failure. It's a form of self-respect, arriving late, but arriving. You're not cold. You're not difficult. You're someone who finally learned the difference between loving people and losing yourself inside them. Take a moment now and ask yourself this. Who in your life have you quietly stopped trying with? And what did that silence protect? Sit with that question. Don't judge the answer. Just let yourself see clearly what you've been carrying without language for too long. And if this video reached something inside you, leave a comment with one word that describes what you felt while listening to it. That one word matters. It tells me what you needed to hear today, and it helps others find the words for their own quiet. If you've made it this far, subscribe to Mavyn Psychology. This is where we name the inner experiences most people feel but never explain. You're not alone in your quiet. You're not wrong for stepping back. You're not broken for finally choosing peace over being misunderstood. Some people quietly stop trying with others, not because they stopped caring, but because they finally started caring about themselves with the same devotion.